I've been wanting to do a Kodak Black controversies deep dive for a minute now. I've written it down every week for like the last month because I think it's important as hip hop consumers to know who it is, the music we are consuming. Who is the person behind the music, you know? And some people may not care. Do I care all the time? Not necessarily. Like, I don't expect the artists I listen to be perfect. I honestly do expect them to be a little shitty because they rap about shitty things sometimes. And I expect them to kind of be coming from a place of honesty. And so, no, do I expect artists to be perfect? Of course not. Of fucking course not. Right? But there's a big difference between not being perfect and, like, I don't know, raping people and scamming people out of hard-earned money and assaulting people sexually in other ways besides rape. You know, shooting at people, having illegal weapons. That's the kind of stuff, depending on the situation, depending on the facts and the specifics, that's the kind of stuff that we shouldn't tolerate, you know. And why shouldn't we tolerate? Who gives a fuck? Well, we're making these people rich as fuck. When I say we, I mean like with the help of thousands and thousands, if not millions of people. But these people end up as some of the wealthiest people on the planet. At least far wealthier than 90% of the planet, at least. And if that's the case, then we have every right to decide who we want to support and who we do not want to support. All I'm doing here is giving the information that's out there and leaving it up to the people. After all of this, after my explanation, after my breakdown, is this someone we still want to support? You know what I mean? These are questions that face the hip-hop community at large, you know? It doesn't really have to do with virtue signaling and that kind of shit. It's like, do we want to be associated with this kind of fucking shit? Not me, but they're just questions to ask. I am posing questions to ask yourself, you know? I'm giving information, posing questions about that information. What do you think? You can sound off in the comments below and I'll give you my honest response to that, politely. I keep getting this feedback from different communities as if I am trying to, what's the word, like chase, oh yeah, somebody said good boy points, good boy virtue signal points or something like that. That's not what I'm doing here. Okay, obviously I know what's right and wrong and I'm going to stand up for what is right, but I just want to give this is a hip-hop research stream. And so what are we going to do tonight? Well, we're going to do a little research on Kodak Black and his legal troubles, okay? Everybody knows that Kodak Black has been in lots of legal troubles, but do we know all of the specific details of those legal troubles? What happened? What kind of legal troubles? What are the specifics of each case? What are these details? I don't know. And I guarantee most of you guys don't know either. Okay, so let's absorb all of these details, all of these facts and accusations, and then from there we can decide together how we feel about all this, you know? Do we not give a fuck after reading all this? Maybe we won't. Maybe all of this is just BS and they're just trying to take Kodak Black down because they're scared of his power or something. I don't know. Very may well be the case. So this is Kodak Black, Florida rapper. How old is Kodak Black? It's a simple Google search, right? He's 27. He is my age. He's the same age as my wife. So I couldn't imagine being in as much legal trouble as this guy is, but at this age. But let's continue. All right, so some music artists have a harder time staying on the right side of law than others. In the South Florida hip-hop scene, Pompano Beach native Kodak Black is one of the more frequent offenders. His legal troubles have persisted for years, and though it's hard to say to what degree his problems have stunted his career, they're certainly not helping. For those trying to keep up, here's a comprehensive list of Kodak Black's run-ins with the law. I want to say this. There is not any recent current event story happening in the news cycle right now that has to do with Kodak Black. I just think it is important to go over this shit because he is someone that constantly pops up, constantly dropping albums every year, getting support every year, with this litany of what I'm pretty sure is like awful violent crimes under his belt. Awful violent and sexual crimes under his belt. This man is being supported, at least 2 years ago by Kendrick Lamar, a guy that I like to think stands up for the right thing most of the time. Obviously he's gonna have his reasons, rhyme a reason, and I'm always open ears to hear his explanation for things. Does he owe us an explanation? No, not necessarily. Do I expect that from Kendrick? No, not necessarily. But I'm pretty sure I'm not alone and like left scratching my head and like, okay, so at the time, well, this is the thing. At the time, I was kind of excited about the Kodak Black. Kodak, before Mr. Morale dropped, I was listening to Kodak Black's albums that he had dropped earlier that year, and they were hating. And I wasn't thinking about his accusations. I was just listening to the music, and I swear to God, months before Mr. Morale came out, I was listening to a new Kodak Black album, and I said, holy shit, he sounds inspired by Kendrick. This is like a couple months at the beginning of 2022, before Mr. Morale dropped in the spring. I was listening to Kodak, and I was like, holy fuck, I need a Kendrick and Kodak collab. And I tweeted it. I put it on Instagram. I have the proof somewhere. Not on me right now. I wasn't thinking about it, mentioning this, but I predicted that shit. I swear to God. And then a couple months later, Mr. Morale came out with Kodak Black all over it. And I was like, no wonder Kodak was sounding like inspired by Kendrick earlier this year, because he literally was working with Kendrick. So that being said, all that happened. I was hype at the time. I was like, holy fuck, I predicted this. Oh my God, they sound great together. Blah, 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 blah. And all of that is great. And all of that happened. And Kendrick had a vision. And I don't doubt Kendrick's artistic vision. If there's one thing in this world that I don't doubt, it's Kendrick's artistic vision. And so he did a thing. It is what it is. Not necessarily blaming Kendrick for that. But fast forward a couple years, and it's like, yeah, maybe we should relook at this one. And maybe Kendrick feels the same. Maybe he doesn't. Who the fuck knows? Now, some of these stories I heard about at the time of them happening, but what we've got here is a timeline of Kodak Black legal troubles. This was published in May 23rd of 2024. He has maybe gotten himself into new legal troubles since the time that this article was published. June, July, August, September. 4 months and 10 days ago. But let's start here. October 2015. Arrest on kidnapping, battery, and other charges. So these charges, just on face, are enough to make me never associate with a person ever again in my entire life. Okay, just if I know someone personally. If they are arrested on kidnapping and battery, there's a great chance, despite the details of the case, there's a great chance I have kicked this person out of my life. Probably, hopefully, before the kidnapping and battery, because there was like telltale signs that something bad was going to happen. So that's just where I'm coming from personally. At 18 years old, Kodak Black was beginning to make waves in the Florida hip-hop world after his breakout hit Skirt debuted on Drake's OVO Beats One radio station. That's when he faced his first arrest in the spotlight. Kodak, born Diuson Octave in Pompano Beach, was arrested for assault, robbery, kidnapping, false imprisonment, driving with a suspended license, and possession of marijuana after being accused of forcing several people into his car because he suspected someone broke into his Broward County home. He was released on bond soon after. So what? Holy shit. So he forced several people into his car at gunpoint. Obviously, that's what force means. So he kidnapped people that he suspected broke into his Broward home. So I wonder, did he have reason to believe that? What was his reason to believe that? We gotta look at the details of each one of these cases. So I wonder if ChatGPT can give me some answers here before I just go straight to Google. Charges. Kodak Black faced multiple charges, including kidnapping. He was accused of kidnapping a woman, although specifics on the nature of the kidnapping charge were not extensively detailed. Okay. Battery. This charge was related to accusations of physical assault, obviously. False imprisonment. In addition to kidnapping, this charge involved allegations of unlawfully restricting someone's freedom. So the kidnapping is separate from the, forcing people to get into his car. That's false imprisonment. Although specifics on the nature of the kidnapping were not extensively detailed. Okay, interesting. Possession of a firearm. At the time of his arrest, he was also found to be in possession of a firearm, which contributed to his legal troubles. Possession of marijuana. Kodak Black's legal troubles from this incident led to a series of court appearances. He faced multiple court dates and legal battles which were part of a broader pattern of legal issues throughout his career outcome. Details about the final resolution of these charges may not be extensively publicized, but they contributed to his ongoing legal challenges and impacted his career trajectory. Kodak Black's legal history includes various incidents, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so not many details on that. Moving on. December in 2015, 2 months later, just 2 months after he was charged with drug possession in addition to more severe crimes, Kodak was arrested in St. Lucie County for possession of less than 2 pounds of marijuana. He was also charged for having a drug, so that's bogus. February 2016, sexual battery charge. So this is where we get more serious. Kodak Black allegedly assaulted a young woman in Florence, South Carolina in February of 2016. The woman reportedly accompanied him to his hotel room after a show at the nightclub Treasure City. Soon after entering the room, she said the rapper ripped off her clothes, bit her, and raped her. He was charged with criminal sexual misconduct. So the charge here is pretty damning. What are all the public details on Kodak Black's February 2016 sexual battery charge? Kodak Black's February 2016 sexual battery charge involves... What is going on here? It's not gonna let me read that answer? Okay. What? It doesn't holy shit. I've never had ChatGPT do this. It's so bad that ChatGPT had to block it. Holy shit. So whatever this is so bad that ChatGPT had to block it. That the accusations are so bad, at least. Okay, and here it is. So this is even more updated. So he ended up pleading guilty to this. Kodak Black pled guilty to raping a woman. Okay? So that's who Kodak Black is a rapist. Right? Do what you will with that information. Rapper Kodak Black was sentenced to 18 months probation on April 28th after pleading guilty to first-degree assault and battery in an incident involving a teenage girl. She could have been 19, I guess, but okay. The hearing for the musician attracted heavy media and police presence, as well as Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who planned to testify for his friend, but left before the hearing started. He must have gotten tipped off that was a bad idea. He must have gotten some last-minute info that, bro, that he actually did that shit. Even he's pleading guilty. Wow. I need to know why he decided to leave before testifying. Black was given the opportunity to address the victim, who was appearing via a virtual feed. I apologize this happened, and I'm hopeful we can all move forward, he said. About 20 fans stood outside the Florence courthouse to catch a glimpse of the rapper. Kodak was initially charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct in an incident that took place at a Florence hotel in February 2016 while the rapper was in town to perform at a nightclub. Kodak was accused of sexually assaulting a teenage girl from Richland County. According to a police report, Kodak allegedly forced the girl onto a bed and later the floor as the victim repeatedly told him no and to stop. The warrant said he was accused of biting the victim on her neck and breast. The Florence County Sheriff's Office became involved after the girl reported the crime to her school nurse. Ugh, man, this makes me so sad, dude. She was a teenager in high school. Despite Trump pardon, solicitor says Kodak Black will face charges in Florence County. So this is what Trump pardoned Kodak Black for, right? That's okay. No. I take that back. Kodak Black had a prior federal weapons conviction commuted by Donald Trump on his last day as president. Okay, so in December 2016, Kodak posted a $100,000 bond and was indicted 5 months later. A trial was scheduled for April 19, but later postponed. Okay, how the fuck can he only get probation for this but years in prison for gun possession? He would have gotten years if he took it to trial. And also, this is with the state of South Carolina, while the gun shit is federal. We haven't even gotten to the gun possession. So let's get there. Am I right? Let's get there right now. April 2016. Arrest for weapons possession. Shortly after the Florence incident, Kodak was allegedly seen buying weed from a drug dealer. He then got in his car and drove away. When police tried to pull him over, he attempted to evade arrest and threw a gun from his car, according to the cops. After recovering a loaded .40 caliber Glock 23 pistol, they arrested Kodak for possessing a weapon by a convicted felon, possession of marijuana, and a number of traffic violations. So all the marijuana shit, obviously, I throw out the window, and it shouldn't have ever been a factor in any of this. I mean, maybe if he's buying, even that. I was about to say, maybe if he's buying pounds to sell on the streets, but who gives a fuck, right? About weed selling, which I don't even think that's what he was doing. I think he was just buying, but yeah, the loaded .40 caliber Glock 23 pistol is the problem, if you ask me. That's the problem, and that's why he threw that shit out the window and not the weed. But he was fucked for that. May 2016, Broward County arrest. So just a month later, just 1 month after he was arrested for possessing a weapon and weed and traffic violations, Kodak was arrested again in the same county. this time in connection with open warrants related to the previous charges of false imprisonment and armed robbery. While he was in jail for this arrest, outstanding warrants for the criminal sexual misconduct case in Florence and the marijuana possession charge from December were brought to light. Okay, so at this point, he's just fucked because he just keeps running from the law and then like keeps getting caught up with the law. Like, it's hard to judge from where I'm at, you know? Obviously, I don't understand. But at the end of the day, it doesn't take some cultured savant to understand why things are right and wrong. You know, it just takes a good head on your shoulders. Right? So I feel like I have every right to judge Kodak on this shit because he's physically and sexually harming people, innocent people. And then the weapon shit is just inexcusable for anybody. I just fucking hate guns, dude. And I wish they would just leave this country. I'm not gonna lie. But people need them for their protections, and I'm personally not a gun owner, and I don't plan on becoming one, but people have their reasons to have them, and sure, whatever, but it is out of fucking hand, and I don't even gotta fucking explain it, you know? Kids are dying in schools, so whatever. August 2016, after 3 months in jail, Kodak was sentenced in August to 1 year of house arrest and 5 years to probation. He was also reportedly ordered to complete community service, anger management, and community control supervision programs. However, before he could be placed on house arrest, the open warrants for the St. Lucie County drug possession arrest halted his release. Fucked again by warrants and past instances of running from the law. In addition to that warrant, his charge of criminal sexual misconduct in the Florence case was changed to sexual battery, which carries a penalty of up to 30 years in prison. So I wonder how the defense got that, or how the prosecution got that changed. Maybe we can ask ChatGPT that. Why did Kodak Black's charge of criminal sexual misconduct in Florence get changed to a charge of sexual battery? See the details on that one. Specific reasons for this change involve legal and procedural aspects of how charges are handled in criminal cases. Here's a general overview of why such a change might occur. Okay, so it's giving me just a vague, like, why it might occur. Different jurisdictions have varying legal definitions and classifications for sexual offenses. In some cases, what starts as a charge under one classification may be reevaluated based on further evidence or legal definitions and may be changed to a more specific or applicable charge. So they could have someone else could have looked at it and been like, oh, you know, just like reevaluated it and been like, this actually belongs in this category. So there's some sort of chain of command that these things go through it. Evidence and prosecution strategy. As the case progresses, the prosecution might reassess the evidence and determine that a different charge more accurately reflects the nature of the alleged crime. This can involve updating charges to better fit the circumstances as they are understood during the legal process. From what I understand, he was being charged by the state, so the state prosecution could have but my question then is like, what was their reason for reassessment in the first place? So just more questions, right? Plea bargaining. Sometimes charges are changed as part of a plea bargain or negotiation between the defense and the prosecution. In some cases, defendants might agree to a different charge in exchange for a reduced sentence or other considerations. So maybe I don't think that's true, right? Because that's like a worse charge, and before, a worse charge with a heavier penalty. So that doesn't make sense. Legal proceedings. During the course of legal proceedings, including preliminary hearings, investigations, or discussions, the charges might be refined or altered based on the findings and legal arguments presented. In Kodak's case, the transition from a charge of criminal sexual misconduct to sexual battery reflects these kinds of legal adjustments that can occur as a case develops. The change was a part of the broader legal process, aiming to accurately address the allegations and fit them within the appropriate legal framework. That pretty much answers my question. September 2016. Dude, this man was on a rampage in 2016. Holy fucking hell, dude. Sexual battery charges February. April, weapons arrest, where he's evading law enforcement and traffic violations and running from the cops, throwing guns out the window. Next month, May, arrested because of his previous legal troubles in 2015. So those have finally caught up to him. While he's there, more warrants start to pile on. In August 2016, so fast forward 5 months later, right? May, June, July, August, September, October. 3 months later, sitting in jail for 3 months, Kodak was sentenced in August to 1 year of house arrest and 5 years of probation. So all these are stemming. I was like, holy shit, this is like one case after the other, but this is all just like all of 2015 catching up to him by August 2016. However, before he could be placed on house arrest, the open warrants for the St. Lucie County drug possession arrest halted his release. In addition to that warrant, his charge of criminal sexual misconduct in the Florence case was changed to sexual battery. So he was almost out on house arrest, but then even more warrants caught up to him, right? So these are all stemming, nothing new has happened. So at this point, he has kidnapped a woman, which the details on that are hazy. We don't really have anything on that. I'm sure the details aren't pretty, though. He, at gunpoint, assumingly false imprisoned multiple people in his car after suspecting that somebody had broken into his house. So violent, right? Violent threats. Okay. All of that is excusable. He's an 18-year-old. He grows up. He does better. He matures. He learns. All of that is pretty much excusable. Marijuana possession, excusable. So it's really not up until 2016, the sexual battery charge is really the main one. If we were to ignore all the other lesser things and just focus on the serious crimes here, the serious violent crimes. I mean, that's scary. This is a high schooler, by the way. We're talking about a high schooler. That is the first serious crime in Kodak's public life. That's the one I'm going to count. Let's continue. A month later in September, he pleaded guilty to the St. Lucie possession case and was sentenced to 120 days in prison. Kodak was released from a St. Lucie County jail and extradited to South Carolina to face a sexual battery charge. So just one case after another. As predicted by his lawyers, Kodak was freed from a South Carolina jail after posting a $100,000 bond for the sexual battery charge. He posted on IG that he was happy to finally be going home to family and friends and that he looked forward to clearing his name in the very near future. I mean, yeah, 100%, happy to be going home. The man is alive and he hasn't killed anybody and he probably ruined that girl's life and her self-esteem for the rest of her life. Hopefully not. Should the man have a budding national hip-hop career after that? Absolutely not. But despite that, he continues on with his career. In February 2017, he was arrested for violating house arrest, assaulting bartender. After appearing in court in Broward, Kodak was arrested for violating the terms of his house arrest related to the charges of false imprisonment in May 2016. Why doesn't he move somewhere, dude? He should move. I mean, he's stacking these Broward cases up like fucking pancakes, dude, like flapjacks. You need some butter with those flapjacks, Kodak? You should move. It might do you some good, bro. These Broward cases are stacking up, piling up, dog. The decision to take him into custody was bolstered by his alleged assault of a bartender at Club Climax in Miami earlier in February. Charges weren't formally filed against him, but the woman identified Kodak as the man who punched and kicked her at the club, and the police incident report was presented in court. So he's a violent, what is this dude doing, bro? He's violent. He's kicking and punching women, bartenders, strangers, workers. How much money does this man have? That's the thing. I can't stand rich motherfuckers out here acting like fools. And that's where I get pissed. Be unknown and shitty all you want. But if you're making millions of dollars, traveling the world, to have this much influence, yeah, no. If you're going to be like a shitty fucking criminal person, I have every right to come at you and to at least give the facts, right? So I'm going to keep doing this type of shit. And I feel well within my goddamn right. Because this is insane. Hip-hop is better than this. Hip-hop is so much better than this. Angry outburst sentencing and house arrest violation. Between April 21st and May 4th, Kodak was embroiled in a number of legal issues. That's a short period of time. On April 21st, he was accused of grabbing his anger management counselor by the arm after she threatened to call 911 when he refused to leave a session. She reportedly asked him to leave because he was intentionally disrupting the session by burping repeatedly. Yeah, so Kodak is immature and he might be on the spectrum, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure he was the worst student ever in class and just disruptive and obnoxious and annoying. I'm guessing here. I'm guessing by this description. I mean, the man is this is insane behavior. 5 days later, on April 26th, he was found guilty on 5 counts of violating his house arrest. On May 4th, he was sentenced to 364 days in prison, with the possibility of early release if he completed a life skills course. He successfully finished the course and was released in June after serving 97 days. Congrats, dude. I'm glad you finished that life skills course. On January 2018, he was arrested for weapons and drug possession and child neglect. Okay. So we're crossing another serious red line here. Let's read. Despite some legal issues regarding child support for his son, Kodak steered clear of the courthouse for the remainder of 2017 after his release from jail. That changed in January 2018 when police were alerted to a live stream on Kodak Black's IG feed. The video showed the rapper in his Broward home surrounded by drugs and weapons with his child nearby. Yeah, endangering a child, to say the least. This is more than concerning. I'm very glad that he's such an idiot to live stream something like that. Thank God for his stupidity. He could be way more harmful if he was smarter. Let's just keep that in mind here. Kodak Black is actually pretty fucking stupid because he could be like way more dangerous if he moved smarter. But as you can see, case after running, he is a bumbling, stumbling fucking idiot. And that continues to be the case with him live streaming the guns and drugs in his house with his child next to them. It's stupid to have the drugs and the guns with the child in the first place, and it's even stupider to film all of that live for your millions of followers to report to the cops. Wow. So because of that live stream, he was arrested for grand theft auto of a firearm, 2 charges of possession of a weapon or ammo by a Florida delinquent adult felon, possession of cannabis over 20 grams, child neglect without great bodily harm, and 2 counts of parole violation. A month later, his lawyers were able to get the charges of grand theft, child neglect, and possession of a weapon by felon dropped, which is sick and just wrong because all of these things were true. Well, I don't know about the grand theft. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what it means, but did he steal a weapon? I mean, I guess a felon can't own a weapon, so him possessing it is grand theft. But the child neglect and possession of a weapon, I guess, so to attain a weapon as a felon is automatically grand theft on top of just having the weapon as a felon. Those are 2 separate charges, I guess. Anyways, April 2018, sentencing for January arrest. Kodak Black entered a plea of not guilty and was again sentenced to 364 days in prison for the remaining charges stemming from his January arrest. He got credit for 90 days of the time served in jail while waiting the trial, so he was released in August of that year. During that stint in jail, Kodak seemed to be trying hard to turn his life around. He earned a GED, changed his legal name to Bill K. Capri, and even tweeted about writing a book. Wow. That's all it takes to turn your life around? Is that really all it takes to turn your life around? Is that what we're going with? Who wrote this? Miami New Times? I mean, this is a good article so far, but I mean, I know you're trying to be probably fair, but if that's all it means, if that's what it means to turn your life around, then I've turned my life around time over and time again, and time again, and time again, and time again. I've turned my life around 20 times in my one lifetime. If this is all it takes, stuff like that. I mean, come on. Y'all are reporting, right? Are you guys serious reporters? Is this the Miami New Times or is this a YouTube channel? During the stint, Kodak seemed to be trying hard to turn his life around. Anyways, he changed his legal name to Bill K. Capri. What the fuck does that have anything to do with turning your life around? Kanye changed his name to Ye in the middle of his anti-Semitic news media run. Does that mean he was turning his life around to be an anti-Semite? Turning your life around has connotations of turning it around to improve in a positive way that makes a difference to the people around you. Changing your name means nothing. And even tweeted about writing a book. He had a thought about possibly, maybe, making money off of his name. If that isn't a positive turnaround, I don't know what is. See, this is why the man is fucked. Because people are so soft on him. I don't have much faith for Kodak Black to really get it, to really turn it around here. He's kind of on the same path as a boozy badass in 20 years, be saying the F slur on IG Live and talking about how he had his son sexually assaulted by a porn star. This is the path Kodak is on. Okay, and sorry, but Kodak is just dumb, and that's kind of unfortunate about him, and the fact that he's so famous and also so dumb. But there is really no hope for Kodak in my mind. Now, I do hope he proves me wrong. I wouldn't have any problems with him proving me wrong. Shortly after his release, it was revealed that he was also let off probation, truly cementing his freedom. For a while, things quieted down for Kodak as he continued to release hit songs and collaborate with exciting artists. However, things once again spiraled downward that spring. It's crazy how short of times he's not in legal trouble before he gets himself back in it for the same shit. Just a bumbling, stumbling idiot. Alright, April/May 2019, arrest for weapons possession. Kodak Black and 3 others were apprehended by U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents while trying to cross into Canada from New York. So he's crossing customs with weapons. He was found with a Glock. Yeah, he's crossing. Oh my god, dude. He's so stupid. He's so stupid. He's so stupid. He's crossing customs with Glock 9s? What the fuck? What is he thinking? No, legitimately, what is his team thinking? What do they think is gonna happen? Are they just not thinking? Are they thinking they're rich so they can get away with things? Are they thinking that it's no big deal and they're just like ignorant? Like, I'm really, like, legitimately, I want to know. There must just be not any thinking happening, right? So let's continue. Kodak Black and 3 others were apprehended by U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents while trying to cross into Canada from New York. So not even coming into the U.S. Like, coming into the U.S. is one thing because of how insane our gun laws are. Like, I could see someone trying to get away with that. But to go from the U.S. to Canada where guns are, like, non-existent? Like, use your noggin, dude. At least Kodak, hire somebody to think for you. What's the big deal? You're rich. He was found with a Glock 9mm pistol and marijuana and was taken into the Niagara County Jail. Paid the $20,000 to $40,000 bond and then walked out of the jail with a fan of cash covering his face. Then, less than a month later, he was arrested on weapons charges in Miami just before he was set to take the stage at the hip-hop music festival Rolling Loud. I kind of remember this. 2019, right? He was apprehended by U.S. Marshals for state and federal firearms violations following what was described as an extensive investigation. The federal charge arose from an instance in which the rapper allegedly lied about the status of his criminal cases when he filled out official paperwork for gun purchase. Ooh. So that's the big one. And that deserves to be a big one because he's trying to get through the very little protections we have for gun safety in this country. He's trying to skirt around the very thin layer of protection we have, which barely does shit, but at least is there. The very thin filament that can be easily poked through of gun protections, protections of Americans against guns. Fuck, man, you're rich. Have one of your homies own the gun. Why does Kodak need to put... And honestly, I'm glad, like I said before, I'm glad he is stupid. Because this is how he gets caught and taken off the streets before he fucks up too bad. As in, like, kill somebody. Which I could see happening. I could see Kodak Black being wrapped up in a murder case. Easily. Easily, dude. Easily. Does not need to take a big stretch of the imagination to think of that one. In November 2019, federal prison sentencing, Kodak pleaded guilty to the federal weapons charge, admitting he gave false info in connection with a January 2019 gun purchase. In November 19, he was sentenced to 3 years and 10 months in prison. His lawyers are just like, yo, you gotta plead guilty to these things because you're so guilty, dude. That's the second time he's pleaded guilty to the worst of the worst charges, actually. So, of the 2 worst charges, this is our recap here. I don't know if anybody's following along. Why should we give a fuck about this? Well, let me tell you this right now. The 2 worst charges he has pleaded guilty to. Sexual battery, a high schooler, pleaded guilty. And he lied on his official paperwork while purchasing a gun. He lied about the status of his criminal cases while purchasing a gun. Very serious. Very damning. And he pleaded guilty to that. So, glad we're going through this. Pleaded guilty, admitted he gave false info in connection with the January 2019 gun purchase. In November 2019, he was sentenced to 3 years and 10 months in prison. Behind bars, he had heated confrontations with guards at the high security prison Big Sandy in Kentucky, which prompted him to file a lawsuit that accused prison staff of beating him and restraining him for hours with no access to a bathroom. Do I believe that? Fuck yeah, I believe that. So, I mean, if that happened to Kodak, justice for Kodak, because that's wrong, and that's a violation of human rights. The Bureau of Prisons claimed Kodak had to be restrained because he was violent and spit at a guard. And that, my friends, is why we have 2 sides of it to every story. So, is there video? I don't think so, right? His 3rd album, Bill Israel, was released in November 2020 while he was still incarcerated. Now, this is kind of where I was like hopping back on the Kodak train as far as like listening to his music, being interested in his releases. And this is leading up to 2022. Before he was featured on Mr. Morale, I was somewhat interested in this Bill Israel project. Yeah, so I was like, oh, this song's kind of cool. I was like, this one caught my attention. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm like, okay, Bill Israel. I didn't know he was still incarcerated when that album came out, though. I did not know that. January 21, Trump sets Kodak Black free. At this point, then President Donald Trump commuted Kodak Black's prison sentence on January 2021 as part of a wave of clemency grants in his last moments in the White House. The president's press team pointed to the rapper's past charitable donations as justification for ending his prison term early. So, yeah, this isn't a guy I would pardon. Let's just say that. Kodak Black is a violent criminal. What are we doing pardoning violent criminals? What's the justification there? Charitable donations? Okay. How many charitable donations does every famous person make? That doesn't change anything. Kodak's attorney, Bradford Cohen, a vocal supporter of Trump and one-time contestant on Trump's show, The Apprentice, lauded the act of clemency and claimed Kodak's sentence had been unfairly harsh in the first place. So yeah, this was also like the beginning of the end for Kodak as like kind of being like respected in any sense. And I personally was kind of behind on this. My enjoyment of Kodak's music kind of peaked in 2022, which is after he was pardoned by Trump, after all of these like sexual assault things. But this is why I'm going through this, because people don't really know the details. They know that Kodak has been involved, he's been in legal trouble, which is a very vague statement. It's a little more than just like, yeah, he gets in legal trouble. It's like this man is like violent and lying to get deadly weapons. He has to lie to get the deadly weapons. Like, I mean, this man, case after case after case, he's a danger. He is a danger to other people. Now, we're going to continue. I don't know the last time he's been violent or been charged of being violent, but I won't be surprised if there's more of that. Maybe I'm wrong, but the rapper dropped his lawsuit against the Bureau of Prisons after his sentence was commuted. Okay, in his song Last Day In, released shortly after he was just discharged from prison, Kodak rapped, "Trump just freed me, but my favorite president is on the money." Fast forward to 2024, and Kodak has like fully supported Trump. Pretty sure, like he just supports the dude, and it's not that surprising, but you know, this getting pardoned by Trump was kind of like the nail in the coffin for Kodak being like doomed as far as socially and basically he's headed down the same path as like a Lil Pump, just a little slower than Lil Pump, but you know, regardless of the Trump support, just the stupidness. I think, you know, you got to be kind of smart to be a successful hip hop artist. You really do. Contrary to some people's beliefs. People used to say, "Oh, Lil Wayne, he's stupid. There's no way Lil Wayne's smart, bro. Listen to the way he raps. There's no way Lil Wayne knows what the fuck he's doing. He's just rapping. He just makes so much songs and he's just famous." Lil Wayne's a smart motherfucker. That dude's smart, all right? People that make it 30, 40 years into the game, these aren't your average Joes. Okay, these aren't your average Kodaks. So yeah, Kodak, he's not going to make it very far in the shit, if I had to predict. In April of 21, sexual assault case yields probation. So this isn't a new one, right? While Trump's grant of clemency was a welcome relief for the rapper, it did not shield him from sexual assault charge pending against him in South Carolina State Court over the alleged 2016 assault. I love how this is still like fucking him 5 years later. Like, I love how he's already like gone through the court system for this, and now there's like a new sexual assault charge beyond the sexual battery. So that's cool. Prosecutors in South Carolina argued Kodak had violated his bond terms and that he should be transported to the state to face a sexual assault charge once he was released from federal custody. Citing COVID-19 related court delays, the prosecutors ultimately backed off and agreed to let Kodak remain free until his next court hearing. In April 21, Kodak Black secured a deal with the South Carolina prosecutors in which he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and received a suspended 10-year sentence. According to court records, he was placed on 18 months of probation and served no additional jail time for the hotel assault. So, I mean, he definitely has been through the ringer for this one, which is not gonna make up for the trauma that I'm only as kind of guessing here, but the trauma that he induced in this woman for who knows how many years to come. Honestly, a very scary thing to go through. You know, you're a teenager, you're a high schooler, and you find your way into hanging out one-on-one with a very famous person. What are you going to do? Of course, you're going to go to his hotel room to hang out. And then next thing you know, before anything can even happen, he, like, according to her, almost immediately rips her clothes off, biting her. I don't want to paint the picture. It's very disturbing. Could you imagine something like this happening to yourself? No. Someone that's bigger or stronger than you? No, of course not. Because it's insane to think about. And it's insane for to happen to somebody. So fuck Kodak Black for that. Honestly, for now and forever. If that's the worst that he ever does, it's fucking horrible and bad, and he needs to be this type of shit. It can't be forgotten when we're talking about Kodak and his career and his music. This type of stuff has to be on the forefront of our minds. It's gotta be. His art represents him. Okay, it's so simple. And people are so married, they idolize my favorite celebrity in the world, Ethan Klein. Tomorrow, if it comes out that he raped somebody, I'm out. I'm done. It's over. I'm done. It's out. I'm over. I'm done. Okay? I'm not married to these people. I don't give a fuck. I'm entertained by these people. So people who are holding on, bro, you're trying to cancel Kodak? You're trying to cancel fill in the blank? Fuck it, dude. Who cares? You're trying to cancel Kanye, bro. You love Kanye. Why are you trying to cancel Kanye? Canceled himself. Give me a break. January 2022. Kodak Black was arrested on New Year's Day in Pompano Beach on a trespassing charge. Still, same place. 6 years later, he's still getting arrested in the same damn county. the same beach. Move. You're richer than 90% of the world. Move. At the very least, move smarter. I'm just like dumbfounded how dumb he is. If Kodak was smarter, he wouldn't be arrested this many times and he'd still be doing all of the same shit. It's astounding how dumb he is. Kodak Black was arrested on New Year's Day in Pompano Beach on a trespassing charge. The arresting officer claimed in a police report that Kodak had been at a housing complex despite having been banned from the property by the Housing Authority of Pompano Beach. Wow. The Housing Authority allegedly had an active cease and desist order against Kodak, which arose from his claims that he had disturbed residents during a private visit in August 21. Kodak and his attorneys maintained that Kodak was on the property in August to donate air conditioning units to financially struggling residents. Okay. February 22 shooting. Kodak was shot in the leg in West Hollywood, California after a fight involving members of his entourage broke out near a restaurant where pop singer Justin Bieber was having an after party. He is involved in a fight. Were they attending the after party? I guess so, right? All right. 3 others were injured in the shooting. According to Los Angeles police, a suspect fled the scene. Kodak's album Back for Everything was released within 2 weeks of the shooting, debuting at number 2 on the Billboard 200. Back for Everything. Is that the one I listened to? Oh, it is. So, this album comes out, and I'm like, get this man to collab with Kendrick. And I know people are going to be like, oh, of course he said that. No, I have proof that I fucking tweeted that publicly, or put it on Instagram. Like, a couple months before Mr. Morale came out, I was listening to this album by Kodak, and I'm like, this man has been listening to Kendrick and Lil Wayne. This He Loves the Street song is actually very good, and it reminds me of like post-Katrina Lil Wayne. It reminds me of like the Carter 3 Lil Wayne lamenting. It's actually an incredible song. And so I'm like, Kodak actually has something going on here. That same year, he also released Cutthroat Bill Volume 1, which is kind of cool too, whatever. And then several months after Back for Everything came out, which kind of had me impressed, he was all over Mr. Morale. At which point, I was kind of excited about because I had made that prediction. Or not even a prediction, I kind of put that out into the universe. You know what I mean? The Kendrick-Kodak collabs. And then I was blessed with exactly what I had asked for. But fast forward these 2 years, 2 years and a couple months, and I'm a little like, why did, I'm sure Kendrick has his explanation as to why he worked with Kodak. He said that Kodak is himself that went down a different path in a way. Kodak is Kendrick, and that's the point Kendrick was trying to make. They're one and the same. There's essentially no difference between Kodak and Kendrick. I think that's Kendrick's point. But the truth is, Kodak Black is fucking stupid. And he's a violent criminal, pled guilty to these things, right? And Kendrick Lamar is just someone that's very, he's not stupid. He's very smart, actually, and very poignant with his points and his ideas and the way he moves. So I think Kendrick his magic is still working in this very conversation, making me someone who has no connection to what Kendrick and Kodak went through growing up as Black Americans in America, in poor neighborhoods. I have no connection to that, but Kendrick, he does work through his fucking art, man. Kendrick's got me out here pondering his relationship to Kodak and the differences between him and Kodak. Are him and Kodak even that different? My answer, absolutely yes. 100% they are different. But with that being said, also Kendrick point stands too. Kendrick knows more than I do about what is going on here. And so, where does that leave me? In limbo, where I belong. But I think these are important questions, right? All right, let's continue. We have more to get through. More Kodak. We're in the Kodak timeline. It's February 2022. Kodak gets shot at a Justin Bieber party. 3 others were injured in the shooting. And then 2 weeks within the shooting, Kodak releases Back for Everything. In my opinion, his best body of work. And then this article skips over it. And then in April of 2022, 2 months later, Kodak Black is on the most important rapper's album. And not only just the most important rapper's album, the most important rapper's first album in 5 years. So it's like huge for Kodak. Actually must be his biggest moment in the music industry. In the aftermath of all these sexual assaults and shootings and gun violations and all this stuff, right? So that's the timeline. That's where we're at. Mr. Morale comes out. And then 2 months after Morale comes out, on July 15th, Kodak was pulled over by Florida Highway Patrol in Broward County after an officer ran the plates on Kodak's vehicle and found that its registration was expired. Troopers smelled a strong odor of marijuana and decided to search the vehicle, at which point they found 31 oxycodone pills and more than $74,000 in cash. Was he selling these? If he's selling oxycodone pills, that's pretty fucking bad, because oxycodone is a killer, and it's actually like really tragic what it's done in this country. So if he's selling this shit, like, yeah, that's fucked up, dude. If he's selling fentanyl, if he's selling opiates, that's fucking bad, dude. Kodak's attorney Bradford Cohen told TMZ the pills were prescribed to his client for pain relief related to the February shooting. Okay, so maybe he wasn't selling them. Never judge a case based on an arrest, the lawyer said. Cohen said that he has provided Broward County state attorneys with evidence of the prescription and that he is moving to quickly resolve the charges, which include trafficking in oxycodone and illegal possession of a controlled substance. Okay, so that seems to be a nothing burger. February 23. In the Broward painkiller pill case, Kodak allegedly violated his bail terms by failing to show up to a drug test and later testing positive for fentanyl. He's gonna kill himself. You guys realize this, right? The headline, Kodak Black dead from fentanyl overdose, is like very real. Like, don't be shocked. Kodak Black dead from gun wound. Don't be shocked, you guys. It's sad, man. And this is where we get to the conversation of systems and how history has gotten people to the spot that they're in now, and why history is so important, and why the history of this country matters, where people's ancestors were in the past. This highlights the importance of where people's ancestors have come from, the resources our ancestors were given, the wealth that our ancestors were able to accumulate and were allowed to accumulate, and how that affects the present day, okay? Because it's really easy to blame individual people, right? But it's harder for people to take a step back and look at the systems at play here, you know? A person like Kodak, like, is there any hope for him? Obviously he's stupid, and obviously not everybody's gonna be perfect. But look at these things that have him running into law, and not everything, you know, he doesn't get fucked for every single little thing. But I'm just saying, there's a reason Kodak is the way he is. There's a reason that people in this country operate the way that they do. It doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It doesn't just happen because certain types of people are dumber than other certain types of people on a mass scale. No. Everything is built off of history. Every single little thing is built off of history. There's a reason things are the way they are. There's a reason black people in this country are more prone to ending up in jail, having their freedoms taken from them. You know what I mean? This shit doesn't just happen by the nature of people. I hope my point's clear. I'm a little sleepy here, but let's continue on. He participated in a drug rehabilitation program under an arrangement with the court. Because he had fentanyl in the system. Pretrial detention terms were reinstated, but a few months later, another warrant was issued for the rapper for allegedly missing an appointment with pretrial services. Obviously, I'm not taking the blame away from Kodak here. Like, he's a bumbling, stumbling fucking idiot. But there are many, many, many black men in his position, and then there's many white men in his position too. But per capita, on a proportional rate, black men are disproportionately end up in these positions. This is not because black men are morally corrupt or morally below white people. Obviously, dude. It's history. It's prejudice. Black American ancestors not being set up the same way that white American ancestors were. Obviously, this isn't a blanket statement, but generally, yeah. And I don't care how people take it, because it's the truth. And every day, I see people trying to push back on that. And so every day, I'm going to keep pushing it harder. It's just obvious. It's maddening to see something so blatantly true, so obvious, and then to have people deny that. You know what I mean? So let's continue. December 2023, Plantation police claim they found the rapper passed out in a parked Bentley SUV, blocking traffic in the dead of night. Okay, so Kodak has turned to drugs, harder drugs than he used to be on. And these are recent developments within the last year. Fentanyl, fallen asleep in his car in the middle of traffic. Though officers charged him with possession of cocaine, citing a positive field test, the white chunky substance they found turned out to be oxycodone, according to court docs. Kodak had assured fans after the arrest that the substance was not coke, declaring, "I ain't no baser bitch." It seems like he got shot and then got addicted to oxycodone pills. It's so sad, dude. I hope he's off that shit now. Kodak and his attorney Bradford Cohen provided evidence that Kodak had a valid prescription for the painkiller, and a drug possession charge from the December 23 arrest was consequently dropped. The lawyer called the case a disgusting abuse of power. I mean, yeah, they're definitely like targeting Kodak, it seems, like run-in after run-in after run-in with, like, you know, we're not there to see these incidents go down, but man, they want to get this guy. Man, it's a dicey one, people. It's a dicey one. I don't know. I want him to, he needs to mature. If it's jail that takes it to make him mature, then maybe he belongs in jail. The attorney noted in a court filing that if Kodak had a prescription for the drugs, there was no crime and no evidence to be tampered with in the first place. February 2024, this year, Kodak was released from federal detention related to a probation violation triggered by the December 23 arrest. A Miami judge sentenced him to time served for the violation, and Kodak was a free man again. He was reportedly expecting a son to be born the same week. How exciting. Local 10 reporter Rosh Lowe said that as the rapper was leaving a Broward Justice complex, he became combative with Lowe's news crew and threw rocks at them. The incident was caught on camera. We have a video, right? Yo, well, okay, hold on. We gotta find the video. Local 10 reporter Rosh Lowe. Okay. So this is immediately coming out of jail this year. According to some local 10 reporter named Rosh Lowe, we don't know anything about this guy. Fuck it. He might be making everything up, right? According to him, Kodak Black came out of jail throwing rocks at reporters. I mean, that's kind of a crime, dude. Like, that's depending how hard you throw rocks. I mean, that's like assault, right? If you hit somebody with a fucking rock, yo, there's a real video of this shit. Okay. Kodak Black throws rocks at photojournalist, threatens to punch reporter after walking out of Broward County Jail. Assumedly, that's what it says there as a title. Let's look at this reporting here. This was posted February 21st, 2024. Basically, like the latest update we have on Kodak Black's legal troubles. Yeah, this is the end of the article. According to this article, last updated March of this year, this is Kodak Black's most recent troubles.
At 11 and only on Local 10 News, our news crew coming under attack by Kodak Black just moments after he walked out of jail.
The rapper hurled rocks and threats. Could this bad behavior land him back behind bars? Local 10's Rosh Lowe is live in Fort Lauderdale with the exclusive.
He's moving,
Rosh.
In this little video here, he's moving like a homeless person, man. Which, you know, like, I know that's a blanket statement there, but he's, you know, you see like strung out people on the streets, flailing, wobbling, going crazy, yelling, projecting, you know, they're part of the environment when you're in a downtown environment. You know, they're part of the ecosystem in the downtown environment, but they're usually not millionaires. I don't know if Kodak's a millionaire at this point, but I assume he is. But look at this. What is he doing here? He's stumbling and he's like seemingly drunk.
Could this bad behavior land him back behind bars? Local 10's Rosh Lowe is live in Fort Lauderdale with the exclusive. Rosh.
Nicole, and these rocks hit my photographer right in the ribs. This was serious. You know, it is very usual in our profession to interview people coming out of jail, especially noteworthy people. What is unusual is what happened today. Rocks being thrown, threats being hurled. Don't throw anything at our camera. Kodak Black.
Doing?
Don't throw anything at our camera.
Yeah. What is he doing? This man is a child. I'm going to say this as respectfully as possible. I'm pretty sure, as far as I'm aware, Kodak Black is slightly autistic, right? I'm pretty sure that's true. Not that this doesn't excuse anything, but am I going to go to ChatGPT for something like this? You can bet your fucking ass I am. Is Kodak Black diagnosed as autistic or otherwise on the spectrum at all? This is a dead-ass question. As of my last update, Kodak Black, whose real name is Bill, is not publicly disclosed any diagnosis of autism or being on the autism spectrum. Info about his health or personal conditions is generally based on public statements or verified reports. If there have been recent developments or announcements since then, you might want to check the latest news from the most current info. So, okay, I think somebody just like said that, and you know, I was never really 100% sure on that, but it seems to not be true. So he's just like a belligerent. He's just belligerent. Look at this video. What is he doing? He's immediately gets out of jail and he's like hopping around and throwing rocks at reporters. He's like hopping behind the damn AC unit. What is he doing?
Don't throw anything at our...
What is he doing back here, dude? This man can't be serious. This is like a man that has never faced serious consequences in his fucking life. Regardless of all the jail time, I don't think he hasn't faced any serious consequences. And it shouldn't take serious consequences for most people to learn, but clearly he has an issue with learning because he keeps making mistake after mistake after mistake, like the same mistake over and over again. So clearly he has some sort of like issue with learning. But this is just like immature. He's like in his own little playground world, which I guess if you have nothing to lose, then fuck it. Like, of course you're going to see life that way. Maybe he feels he has nothing to lose, which is very sad, especially for someone who has seemingly all the resources in the world. And this is where it comes back to systems, you know? A man who has all the money in the world still treats life like this. And surely, you know, you blame the individual, of course, for their actions and their lack of self-control or whatever it is, for their idiocy. But you also blame systems that set up this type of situation to happen. Let's continue.
Anything at our camera. Kodak Black. Don't throw anything at our camera.
Rush, call the cops, call the
Just
cops.
out of
Call the
jail.
cops.
That when you wake the Kodak bell up. I've been hibernating, chilling, bro.
He has been chilling in jail since December.
What is wrong with him, dude? He is hopped up on something. He is high. That's what the issue is, you guys. I kind of take it all back. What's the issue with Kodak? He's high out of his fucking mind, dude. Look at him. At this point, you know, the Kodak we once knew and loved and adored, whether you did, I mean, a lot of people seem to have. That man is gone. Kodak needs serious help. I think he's legitimately addicted to opiates right now.
Chilling in jail since December, but he accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to a technical violation of his probation. The judge sentenced him to time served. And Kodak's been in custody since Plantation police reportedly found him passed out in a Bentley with drugs on him.
And by the way, the town Plantation, is that the name of the town? That's insane. Again, systems in place in the South. Look at this man. This man should have everything. And look at him strung out on fucking drugs, dude. It's so sad. He was shot, sent to the hospital, hooked on oxycodone. This man never stood a chance, dude. All the money in the world couldn't save him. And, you know, you blame him for his personal actions, but you also blame what he was born into, the place he was born into, the South. I'll just come out and say it, the historically racist South. I mean, this is just fucking sad, man.
You want to punch me?
I ain't standing you, homie. I ain't standing you, homie.
Okay, I'm not going to back down from you, Kodak.
When?
I'm not going to back down from you.
My son about to be born in less than 48 hours.
He's got a son on the way, and this is what he's doing. He has a son to be born in 48 hours. He gets out of jail in time to go see his son, and this is what he's doing. This is drugs. Kodak Black is a junkie.
Hours. I ain't worried about y'all, homie.
After throwing rocks at our photographer. And look at that again. I wanted to get your side and say hello to you, and you threatened to punch me.
I did.
Threatening to punch me. Don't threaten to punch me again. You understand what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
You understand what I'm saying? You want me to call the cops on you right now, Kodak?
You know what I mean?
You want to threaten to punch me again on camera?
Are people aware of this right now? This is the current state of Kodak Black. Do we know this? Does Kendrick know? Where's Kendrick at? Is Kendrick gonna help this man? Like, what the fuck, dude? This is drugs. This is so sad. Look at this man stumble down the fucking stairs immediately from being released from jail. Holy shit.
You want to threaten to punch me again on camera?
This how I'm living, how I'm living. It ain't nothing like you seen on BET.
Kodak sings his way out of jail.
All right.
Just like that,
Yeah.
he's gone. But the damage done.
He's out here doing that by himself. He doesn't even have his friends to egg him on. He's out there throwing rocks at reporters solo. What? It's a sad state for Kodak Black. I'm sorry we had to go down that path. It is actually really sad.